Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters in Burbank, California, and we would like to invite you to stop, collaborate, and listen.
And also here is writer-director John Schnepp.
That was good. I like that. Vanilla Ice and Raptors, and then bam. Raptors.
And also here is AMC's Mark Ellis.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Although it has been speculated, it now appears it may be a done deal. According to multiple reports, Captain America: The Winter Soldier directors Anthony and Joe Russo will be directing the upcoming Avengers films, Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2, after they finish with Captain America: Civil War, which goes into production just over a month from now. How this affects the other films the Russos were to direct, The Gray Man and a Channing Tatum Ghostbusters project, is still unknown. John, what do you think about the Russos directing the next two Avengers films?
I know everybody's expecting me to say, yeah! I honestly don't know how I feel about this yet. I have to think about it a little bit longer, and also let me see Captain America Civil War first. Here's the thing, though, with this. One of the things I love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and one of the things that I think has made it so great, is that they so rapidly and quickly go through directors. They bring in so many different flavors and takes on characters, and they mix it up. Like Phase 1 was basically all different directors other than Jon Favreau, who did like Iron Man 1 and 2. But other than that, they just went through a whole different slew of directors. They did a lot of that in Phase 2 as well. So the notion of bringing in these directors who did a fabulous job on Winter Soldier. I mean, I keep going back and forth between, Days of Future Past, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy as what was my favorite comic book movie. Like, all three of them were so awesome. The Russos did such a good job. And actually, we had the Russo brothers in our studio hanging out with me and Schnepp and Amy Rose. There it is right there. They came in and hung out with us for the afternoon, talking Captain America, Winter Soldier. It was a really good time. And I like these guys a lot. I was also very excited to hear that they were coming to do Civil War. But now they're staying on the property, and they're going to do, so now Winter Soldier, Civil War, and they're going to do the Avengers. I always get a little bit nervous about Sam Raimi-isms, about, you stay on Spider-Man too long, eventually you lose that creative juice and things start to feel a little bit stale. You're not bringing in new creativity anymore. I think I would rather see them do Civil War and then go off and do other projects and then get somebody else to come in and do Avengers. I'm not sure. I love what they did so far. I'm torn. Ask me again in like 6 months, I think. I don't know. Shep, you heard about this. What do you think?
Yeah, me personally, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I would have liked to have Joss Whedon just stay on forever, like just chain him to Marvel. But he's one of those guys who's like, look, I've been on this for like 6 years. On Avengers, all the way through Avengers Age of Ultron. I got to see him actually directing. He was run ragged. He was limping. I was like, man, that guy needs a break. And that was 6 months into the project, and he had another 6 months to go. So I just knew, I was like, man, he is not going to do Avengers 3, because he already was saying, I don't think I'm doing Avengers 3. I'm done. This is the last one. He's not saying he's not going to write Avengers Infinity War. I'm sure he'll get involved in the writing aspect. The Russo brothers did such an amazing job with the Winter Soldier.
Incredible.
And then just hearing what some of the plans they had for Civil War, I wholeheartedly, when I heard that they were like months ago, like that they might possibly take over the reins for Joss Whedon and do the Infinity War, I'm all for it, because it's going to be like a refreshing new thing for them. They're doing Civil War, which is like Avengers, 3.5 or 2.5.
2.5, yeah, it's a good
And now they're going to actually do Avengers, and they just have it. I think they have it. So it's like, to me, it's not I don't need to see another director take another take on the Avengers. I think they kind of got that group mentality with Captain America, and I'm looking forward to seeing Civil War. So I'm all for it.
Mark?
I think it's exciting, but again, I had a little bit of hesitancy when I first heard the news, and because I was like, well, what's up with Joss Whedon? And if it's true that Joss Whedon doesn't want to be involved anymore because he's simply too tired, he's been run ragged by these movies so far, then I get that. It's interesting timing, because we have Avengers Age of Ultron coming out, a movie that he directed that does have all of these people in it, and then all of a sudden now in 2019, which is still 4 years away, we're going to get somebody else who, granted, are doing they did one great film. They also did You, Me, and Dupree,
Yeah, let's not forget that.
And so I think we need to see Civil War before we get so amped about what's going on. I'm less nervous about this than I might be in another situation, simply because Marvel has such a good team in place behind the camera. They have such a great infrastructure that I don't think it's just, we're going to let the Russo brothers go off, and I hope they don't mess this up. There's going to be so many conversations and so many meetings between Feige, probably Whedon, and whoever else they get in to pitch in, writing the project, and all their producers and exec producers are all going to be collaborating on this project together. What you see on the screen is going to be a bunch of superheroes teaming up. Behind the screen is the same exact situation with Infinity War.
You bring up a really great point about trusting not just in the guys that are going to be getting in the director's chair, because once again, I have a world of respect for these guys and what they did. They gave us the first really true political thriller of a superhero movie, which was Winter Soldier was just so flipping good. I just worry for them that staying on the project too long and not being involved in other things. But you make a great point about also trusting the other team that's behind the camera as well with them. And I'm sure we're going to talk about this a little bit more, probably a whole lot more on AMC Heroes a little bit later this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, what's next?
Director Roland Emmerich has taken to his Twitter account to officially announce that actress Vivica A. Fox has joined the upcoming Independence Day 2. Fox reprises her role as Jasmine Dubrow, the romantic partner of Will Smith's character in the original. Fox joins fellow original castmate Jeff Goldblum. Mark, where's your enthusiasm now for Independence Day 2?
Oh boy, we got the stripper back. Sorry, exotic dancer back. I'm going to say this. Vivica Fox's character made some contributions in the first Independence Day. She was the reason that the First Lady could survive long enough to say goodbye properly to Bill Pullman's president, okay? So that was a nice thing you did. I don't care about this at all. I don't care about this news whatsoever because, again, she wasn't anything that I really cared about in the first Independence Day. You want to bring back her husband? You want to bring back her maid from the first movie? That's something that would get me out of bed in the morning. This, I don't care about one way or the other. And actually, it gives me a little bit of pause because I'm thinking they're bringing her back. So now we're going to hear what happened to Will Smith's character, Captain Hillard. But he's not in the movie. So where is he? Is he dead? I don't want Will Smith's character from the first Independence Day to be dead. I'd rather they just don't even acknowledge that anything ever happened to that dude than say, oh yeah, wasn't it sad when that guy that I used to be sleeping with is dead now? So I don't think I care about this, but it gives me a little bit of nerves.
I really like this, as a matter of fact. And the reason I do is because, honestly, the Vivica A. Fox, she had her own story thread throughout that movie. And her story thread, I thought, was one of the more interesting ones. Because unlike, Goldblum and Pullman and Will Smith, who were, their story threads were fighting the aliens, Vivica A. Fox's storyline in that film was kind of representing the human dilemma. She was representing the plight of the human race at that point, just the struggle to survive and keep those you love alive as well, because she's looking after her kid and the stupid dog, but whatever. So I actually really liked that part of it quite a bit. As far as the Will Smith thing goes, I love Will Smith. I'm always intrigued when he's popping up in movies, even movies that I know are going to be terrible. I get intrigued by it because he's such a dynamic actor. But I mean, they could just say that, okay, so he retired from the Air Force. Now he sells soap and he's in the Ukraine right now on a big soap convention. So that's why he's just away while the events of Independence Day 2 goes on. Big soap convention. And I'm going to say this. I don't know why. I can't justify this. I can't quantify this. But for whatever reason, I've gone from optimistic about this movie to I'm officially excited for Independence Day 2. But then again, I got officially excited for Transformers 4, and we all saw how that turned out. So take that with a grain of salt. But I'm excited for Independence Day 2. Schnepp?
I'm completely not excited for ID Forever or whatever this thing is going to be called. And Vivica Fox is in it. I'm happy she's getting a paycheck. Really, that's all I have to say about it.
I think something else to think about, though, is that they're probably bringing her back because she had a son, and they were raising somebody together that maybe that's the Will Smith in this movie. So now that's a fully grown adult who can help us fight aliens.
What's his name? James Usher? Is that the name of the actor kid? Or it's either James or Jimmy or something like that?
It's not Jaden Smith, so that's exciting.
Right. I want the Will Smith character to be on like a soap plant. That's a good idea. If they do that idea, maybe I'll enjoy the movie.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her house, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Irish filmmaker Ari Robinson recently put his proof of concept short, The Leviathan, online to try to get attention for his project he hoped to make into a feature. After millions of people watched the concept short online, Deadline reports that Simon Kindberg, who wrote X-Men Days of Future Past, and Neil Blomkamp, District 9, Elysium, and Chappie have come on board to produce a feature film version of The Leviathan. The concept for The Leviathan goes like this. By the early 22nd century, mankind had colonized many worlds. Faster than light travel was made possible by harvesting exotic matter from the eggs of the largest species mankind has ever seen. Those that take part in the hunt are mostly involuntary labor. Schnapp, Byersell, Kindberg, and Blomkamp participating in The Leviathan.
Harvesting exotic matter. Harvesting. I love these weird descriptions. I hope it's like scrolling along like with some weird sound. Harvesting exotic matter for those strange floating creatures. Humans did not have any choice but to, subjectively hunt these creatures. They were against it, blah, blah, blah. You can see this trailer online. I watched it yesterday. I thought it was like, wow, cool. Moby Dick in space. I'm going to check that out. Some weird dudes like, we're against doing this, but where do the crunch? It looked really cool. I can see 2 hours of that. So yeah, yay.
I'm going to sell it for now. I mean, really, it was just a short. We really didn't know anything about it. To me, it kind of looked like a little bit of a ripoff of Dune. It's like, really, you need this exotic matter harvested from this giant worm-like creature?
Harvesting exotic matter. Harvesting.
It looked really cool, though. It looked like a video game cutscene of some sorts. But, at the same time, balance it out. Kindberg, and I'm a little bit less enthusiastic right now about the name of Blomkamp, but still, he's the guy who gave us District 9, so there's that. So maybe there's just stuff there. There's not enough to get me excited yet. So for right now, I'm going to keep it as a sell. Oh,
this is a big buy for me. I was blown away watching this. I was high-fiving strangers at Panera this morning after watching it. It looks awesome. There's a little bit of a Dune feel. There's also a Pacific Rim feel. There's also a Godzilla tone to this. And I thought what he was able to do in those 3.5 minutes was just mind-blowingly awesome. And if there's two guys that could elevate that further, it is Kindberg and it's Blomkamp. I didn't love Chappie at all, but what Blomkamp's able to bring to the table visually from an executive producer role where he's not too infiltrating the story and putting that social agenda in there, this could be a marriage made in heaven. I'm so excited for this.
I'm buying your excitement.
I tweeted about it. I was like, this is everybody who hasn't seen this yet needs to watch this. I get so excited when you have a filmmaker, and he made a movie about Mars with Liev Schreiber. It wasn't reviewed that well, but now I want to go back.
Do you know how much that movie made? That movie was called
Last Days on Mars.
Last Days on Mars. You know how much that movie made at the box office? $25,000.
Well, it just made $25,000 and $12 because I'm going to buy it for $12 somewhere.
All right, what's next?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recently talked with MTV about his upcoming film Shazam, in which he'll be playing the villain Black Adam. Well, sort of villain. In the interview, Johnson said the following: "Starting off properly is him not being a hero. That's got to be earned, so he starts off as a slave, and he's pissed off, and people are going to pay. But eventually, down the line, he'll become an anti-hero. John Byersell Black Adam being a hero in the DC Cinematic Universe."
So what the hell is, seriously, what's with this whole movement now? Like, let's take Maleficent, but she's a good guy. Ultimately, no, just give me my bad guys as bad. I want to see The Rock play Black Adam and play him bad. I want to see Black Adam like he's kind of portrayed, like the way he's portrayed in Injustice: Gods Among Us. I want to see a bad guy. Don't give me this crap about, but it's somewhere he'll find the hero inside. And even though, and I hate the misuse. I totally hate the misuse of the way Hollywood uses the term anti-hero these days. Yeah. Like, seriously, that's a bull term. You're turning him into a hero who just has an attitude. That means he's an anti-hero. That's not what it means. Anyway, so I don't like it. This is the first thing I've heard about this project that I'm not excited about. I'm still going to be there opening night because it's The Rock playing Black Adam. But I don't like this news. So that's just me. Anyway, Mark, what do you think?
Jumping off of Tsuchihara's comments when he said that the DC universe and those films overall, he wants them to have a more realistic tone than what Marvel's been bringing to the table.
Grittier.
That's why this is something that I buy this for now, because I think that in a more realistic world and you have all these superpowers all of a sudden, you're not going to be a clear-cut villain or a hero. You're going to have to learn how to use those powers, and it's going to get into your head and it's going to mess you up a little bit. And I think that what DC is going to be doing with this property, it's going to be less clear-cut as to who we should be rooting for. We care about The Rock because he's Dwayne Johnson. We love that dude, but he also is doing some real evil stuff. I think he will start out as a villain. I think he'll eventually become, I want to see how far they bring him over to the scale of hero, because again, he's going to be. There's going to be times when you root for him, but I don't know that he's ever going to be the full-fledged hero like what Shazam is. So it's interesting to me. I'm going to buy the fact that this is a complex character.
I'm actually interested in just seeing how they're going to play Shazam. Like, I mean,
and who?
We keep talking about Black Adam and, this and that, and he's going to be anti-hero. And, Snake Plissken's an anti-hero. Like Charles Bronson and all the Westerns and Clint Eastwood and all the Westerns were anti-heroes. I don't really know what you would classify as an anti-hero in this decade, Like, at least to anti-hero, the way this is described is like, he gets his revenge, then he fights for justice. That's not an anti-hero. So, whatever. But yeah, The Rock is great. He's got this, magnetism to him. So if he's playing a villain, he'll be a fun villain to root to then become an anti-hero, I'm sure. But the bigger question, it's like the elephant in the room is, all right, but it's called Shazam. Right? And all we ever keep hearing about is Black Adam. Is Black Adam going to be what Shazam is? Are they just going to just get rid of the big red guy with the weird, like, hey kids, is he just gone? And then Black Adam is what happens when you say Shazam? Maybe,
I mean, we're still 4 years away from the movie. So the fact that they haven't cast it yet is not a surprise, nor, or anything like that. I still don't know what the purpose was of announcing The Rock as Black Adam 5 years before the movie comes out. We're now 4 years. I'm still just counting the days before we get our first question on Twitter about why haven't we seen a Shazam trailer yet? Which is still, But so I'm not surprised. I don't think we're even going to know who's playing Shazam for at least another 2 years.
And is he still called Captain Marvel?
No, they changed that to
his name is just Shazam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Shaquille O'Neal should play him.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq should not be playing anybody on the big screen.
Didn't he play somebody named Kazambles or
did.
something?
He played Kazam.
Kazam.
Yeah.
Kazam.
What,
and
Kazam.
Steel.
Okay.
And Steel. Don't forget he played Steel too.
Fazips.
All right. What's next?
Warner Brothers has released the official poster for the upcoming Entourage movie, which you can see here. In the film, movie star Vincent Chase, together with his boys, Eric, Turtle, and Johnny, are back in business with super agent turned studio head Ari Gold. Some of their ambitions have changed, but the bond between them remains strong as they navigate the capricious and often cutthroat world of Hollywood. Mark Byers saw the poster for Entourage.
Yeah, I'll buy it. It looks exactly like I thought it would going into it. The fact that Ari Gold is now a studio head as opposed to a super agent, it wouldn't change the way I would expect the poster to look. It's neat that they have all those toys in the background. And whose jet is that? Whose car is that? I'm not going to get that deeply into the Entourage poster. It's not like one of these comic book movies that's coming out that we need to analyze every frame. Like, oh, was that is that an Easter egg or something? It's going to be a fun movie. It's about Hollywood. It looks like it's about Hollywood. I like all those people in the poster. I'm buying it.
I'm looking forward to the movie, but I'm going to sell the poster. I think, as far as we know much about the story, who cares? Nobody cares about the story of Entourage. I've said this before, it's lifestyle porn. People just want to hang out with this group of guys in this Hollywood world. That's all it is. And it's good at it. And so I'm looking forward to going and spending 2 hours hanging out with them in the movie theater. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But it's a pretty poor attempt at it. Actually, this poster looks a lot like us yesterday walking through that alley.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, there was like all of us at AMC were like walking down the alley, heading towards lunch, and Schnepp was like,
"Where's our picture?"
We look like the Reservoir Dogs right now, walking down the alley. So that was us yesterday.
Entourage had to steal our idea. Whatever. I'm gonna whatever.
You're gonna whatever.
You're a ball of enthusiasm.
Buy or sell it. I don't know. You know what? I am looking forward to seeing the movie, but it's going to make me have to watch all 8 seasons again. Because when did it end? I can't even remember.
I didn't even watch the last season.
I honestly, I'll be honest. I didn't watch
to worry
7
about
or 8.
Any of that stuff with the movie. I think you can go into the movie not having seen one frame of the TV show.
I saw the first 5 seasons. I love that. Yeah. And I know they did 3 more seasons or 2 more seasons. I don't remember.
I just know when they got into Cocaine Addict, what's the lead character's name? Adrian? No, that's the actor's name. What's the
Vinny.
Vinny. Yeah, when they got that Vinny was a cokehead, I kind of signed out of the show at that point. But I love the show up to that point.
It's a really fun show. So yeah, I mean, I'll buy the poster they're all there and Turtle's thin. So that's what I'll buy.
But you know what's nice about the poster too is that a lot of the complaints some people had with the first trailer is that they threw a lot of celebrities in the trailer. So it was like, oh, we need to sell this movie, and that's why we got to make sure we put Mark Wahlberg at the end of the trailer so people know how many famous people you get to see.
But that was the
show. They're not relying on that. It doesn't look like the Wolf of Wall Street poster where it's look at all the debauchery. It looks like a more confident product that they're putting out now.
Johnny Drama's back. That's all I care about. I'm buying that. Bam.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email in your questions anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Just send in your questions. Maybe you'll see it on Movie Talk one day, or maybe you'll see it on our weekend Mailbag shows. So, Ashley, what do we got in the Mailbag?
Willow Kennedy writes, "Hey guys, greetings from Ireland. I know John loves Lake Bell, so I was wondering what you guys thought of the Man Up trailer. I think it could be really good. Thanks, and keep that filthy coming."
As a matter of fact, I love Lake Bell. I just think she's awesome. Like, there's a couple of little movies that she did that I highly recommend. One is called In a World, that I believe she actually wrote and directed as well.
The trailer movie, yeah.
That's
it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
I saw it too.
It's a very personal, very human. And another is, when you've heard me talk about it, it's this little comedy she did with Jason Sudeikis called A Good Old Fashioned Orgy, which was actually really funny, very quaint. I mean, she's just great. She's never in these huge Hollywood blockbusters, but when she's ever in stuff like this, and you're right, the trailer's really good, playing opposite Simon Pegg in a very formulaic romantic comedy. But there's a reason why formula in romantic comedy works, because when you get the right characters, you get the right actors, and you get the right chemistry, it can really be gold and be really fun watching. This looks like the type of movie, Lake Bell and Simon Pegg together. I thought the trailer was really charming. I want to see it. Unfortunately, right now, it does not have a North American release date. It's got a release date for Europe, but I don't think it's got North American distribution yet. I hope that changes soon. So keep your eyes open for it. It's called Man Up. Have you guys heard anything about this?
I saw the trailer and loved it. But then I had to do some research on Lake Bell to see if she was British or if she was American. And she was born in New York, so...
No, she's faking the accent.
Yeah, so people are really going to... If they didn't hate Renee Zellweger for doing a British accent in Bridget Jones's Diary, they're going to be upset about this. It's like, why can't you just cast a British actress to play somebody who's British? But other than that, I think Lake Bell is great. I think $1 Million Arm last year could have just been another formulaic Disney movie.
Yeah.
One of the many reasons that it was better than that is because she gave such a charming performance. So anything she's in, anything Simon Pegg's in. I mean, Simon Pegg was the reason why I was buying the trailer, but I think she looks really good in it too.
I actually thought $1 Million Arm was the best movie that nobody saw last year.
It was, it's really good.
I thought it was really good.
Yep, I agree, because I didn't see it. But I think Simon Pegg is so hit and miss sometimes. Like, I've seen almost all the films he's done, and like, you'll see a trailer for it and you're like, wow, that looks great, and then you're like, they only put the best parts of it in there, and then the rest of it's like, what is this?
I didn't care for Run Fat Boy Run.
Ooh, and then there was another one that came out, was like, I can't even remember, it was like 30 Pence from Midnight, or he was like playing an insane dude, or I remember the trailer, I was like, this looks fantastic, and the first 30 minutes were incredible. Sorry, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like him all crazy in his house. Look it up, and then you'll be like, tell us what it is on Twitter. But yeah, I agree with you about Lake Bell. She's fantastic. In a World was unexpectedly fun, so I'm looking forward to this.
All right, what's next?
Mario Flores writes, "Hello, sons and daughters of AMC. Love the show and everything you do. Question, why hasn't Big Hero 6 announced a sequel? I'm going to say a very unpopular thing, but I wasn't a fan of the Lego movie, and that got an announcement for a sequel before its first box office opening results. Big Hero 6 wins an Oscar and nothing? Why is that?"
Well, there's usually a couple reasons. Number one, first of all, a couple of the casts have already kind of suggested that they are kind of be putting a sequel together. So there's going to be a Big Hero 6 sequel. So don't worry about that. But you also got to remember that Disney Animation can only make so many movies. And they have other movies in the pipe that they're developing and they're working on. And if they already know that they can't do a Big Hero 6 until 2019, unless you're going to come in and announce that The Rock is doing one of the voices, because that seems to be the trend. There's no point in coming out and announcing Big Hero 6 at this point. That movie's not going to come out for another 4 or 5 or 6 years, which it probably won't. Like, I don't think you're going to see a Big Hero 6 in theaters 2018 or 17. That'd be awesome if they do. Maybe they will. But so I think they know they're going to do it, but they also have a other full slate of films. They can only make so many films at a time. It's going to come, but I don't think it's going to be till at least 2019. Schnapp?
Well, yeah, I'll slightly disagree with you. I mean, they have all the models and everything built out already in 3D. They can do a quick turnaround. They just have to write a better script this time and get a better villain. I know it won an Oscar, but it still had one of the weakest villains of any animated movie I've seen in a long time. I still love the movie. I would love a sequel sooner than later. And I know kids who saw it, they don't want to see the sequel when they're in high school. So it's sort of when you're a kid and you see a movie and you're 10, if you have to wait 6 years, that's forever. So I would love it if they would just, I'm positive, like you, they're going to make one. But look at how many Planes sequels did they already make? Planes Fire and Rescue, Planes, Home Invasion. They had so many, horrible sequels to a crappy, you know, I'm a plane with eyes film.
Intruder alert.
The first
Intruder alert.
R-rated Planes film.
Planes coming at you.
Somebody make us a Planes Home Invasion poster. I want to see that.
So I would love it to see Big Hero 6. Just announce it and get it done in a year.
Mark?
I think what you're talking about a studio, though, that until they started making every Planes movie under the sun was a little reticent to do sequels to anything. And whereas opposed to with the Lego movie, it was such a shock when the Lego movie came out and it was as well received as it was. People didn't know what to think about the Lego movie leading up to it. Then it had that huge opening weekend. Everybody was high-fiving each other all across the world. That's why it got a greenlit sequel. I think you knew what you were getting with Big Hero 6 going into it. They probably had more of a plan as far as the future of that franchise. But when you see the movie at the end, it does set itself up more for a sequel than a lot of animated films that I've ever seen. It's like, hey, we have more adventures to tell in this world. So I think you will see one before too long. Schnepp, you made a great point. The kids who see it are going to be growing up before too much longer. So we should probably get it moving. I think you'll hear about it sooner than later.
All right. Well, folks, we've also loved to take your questions, not just via email, but also via Twitter. So we would love for you to jump on Twitter and tweet us a question. Just write out a question on Twitter and put in the hashtag AMC Movie Talk and see if we can get your Twitter account on here. So what do we have in the Twitter sphere, Ashley?
Arthur Mayer writes, at the end of his career, do you think Patrick Stewart will be remembered more for Professor X or Jean-Luc?
That is a really, really good question. And I think it's a question better answered 5 years from now. My guess would be Picard. I mean, we saw him as Professor X 5 times. Maybe 6. I'm not counting.
You can't count X-Men Wolverine Origins because that was like a CG version. Like, hello, come on, get into the plane.
Come on, kids.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a strange old man asking us to come into his vehicle.
He
in
looks
the
like
middle
3D.
Of the woods.
He doesn't look real. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with this picture. So we may have seen Patrick Stewart as Professor X like 5 or 6 times, but we saw him as, you know, Captain Jean-Luc Picard for 7 years. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't know, 400 episodes or 500 episodes, and he was so iconic in the role. I mean, before that show, you never could say, well, who will become the captain in the Star Trek? Look, Captain Picard gives Captain Kirk a run for his money in terms of popularity. I think there was a big Star Trek poll actually once about who's the captain you want on your ship, Captain Picard or Captain Kirk, and actually Captain Picard won. So I got to believe in the long, long term, I think he will be most remembered for Captain Picard. But I mean, how many actors get to have that dilemma where which beloved iconic character that I play that people remember me most for? That's an awesome, Mark.
I mean, it's the same thing with somebody like Harrison Ford. Whenever they do pass away, their obituary, it's both characters are going to be in the first paragraph. Right. It's not going to be like, oh, he played Professor X, and then way at the bottom, it's like, oh, he was also in Star Trek, I think, too, right?
So Han Solo and the dude from Working Girls.
And Mosquito Coast is where I was going.
Right.
Witness.
But I think that I'm going with Picard too. I'm giving the slight edge to Picard because I think that you knew who Professor X was before the X-Men movies were made. You knew him from the comic book page, and it was such a popular comic book that everybody knew these illustrations of Professor X that they saw. He brought it to life in an incredible way. But Jean-Luc Picard, I never saw an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Sorry, never seen one. But I'm aware totally of who that guy is. He just seeped into the pop culture biosphere in such a way that that's always what I think people are going to think first when they think Patrick Stewart.
I always say they're going to think Gurney from Dune. But no, I mean, you know what? To me, it's Jean-Luc Picard. I know Ashley loves Jean-Luc Picard. It's her favorite character.
Big fan of French astronauts.
I am.
But
I love him.
for me, Jean-Luc Picard, I love him as Professor X. When I first heard he was playing Professor X, it was like, no brainer, he's bald. Just like everybody. He's like, it should be Bryan Cranston, it should be Lex Luthor, he's bald. Ah! You know, it's like, because it's a bald person, whatever. I get it. You instantly like, look, he's bald. He'll work. You know, I get it. You can shave your head too, but don't worry about that. It just made it to everybody. Everyone's like, just like Jack Nicholson as a Joker. There's certain things that you're just like, that just makes sense. So Jean-Luc Picard, you know, that's when we all got introduced to Patrick Stewart he'd already been around for years and years. He'd been in all these different movies, but he nailed it as that guy. He really brought something like real earnest and Like you wanted to watch the mission for Star Trek, and you cared about all of his decisions. I mean, with Professor X, he brings that same, almost a similar character, like shepherding these kids. It's the same thing as like kind of like being in control of the Enterprise.
It's that calming influence that you need, and his voice, his accent really helps that. And Campia brought up a great point before we went live. It's like, well, okay, his name's Jean-Luc Picard, right? And again, never seen an episode, so maybe this got explained in episode 137. They totally went into his backstory. Why is his name French, and why does he have a British accent?
And his family is totally like hardcore French.
Because you meet the family in an episode of the
his
Next
brother
Generation.
Robert in the French hillsides growing wine grapes. That's what his family did. But he's got this totally
Maybe
British
that's
accent.
why they sent him off in outer space. Like, if you're not going to talk like us,
Right. Why you're not talking like us? So this is my French accent. Hey, where's my
Italian,
croissants, huh? Get my croissants over here. Get this Picard out of here. Get him on a spaceship.
It's New York Italian. Okay, what's next?
Alex V. Bose writes, I think it will be amazing to see Kevin Smith direct a DC movie. Do you agree? Keep the filthy.
Everybody know, I talk about Kevin Smith all the time. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. No, I don't think it would be a good idea at all. And the first person I think that will tell you that is Kevin Smith himself. I mean, I've heard like Kevin Smith many times talk about how, dude, I write dialogue. I don't know how to write action. I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff. And I think I heard him once talk about him having massive, massive apprehension about directing a comic book film because that's not where his strengths lie. He is like one of the best pure straight up dialogue guys I have ever heard in the business. I think his dialogue is terrific. That's why I'm such a huge fan of like the Clerks series and whatnot. But I would actually be kind of concerned if I heard he was doing an actual straight up big studio comic book movie, because I don't think that's where his strengths lie. But would I be curious? Of course I would be, absolutely. But I wouldn't like it myself. Schnepp?
I would love to see him throw his hat into the ring. I mean, he talks about the Question a lot. I think he's got a fervor for the Question, a fever for the Question. He would do a great Question movie. It'd be a low budget film. There wouldn't be a lot of pressure on it. He could write a great story, make a great script. And I'm sure like, a lot of directors, they have the B unit or the A unit action, choreographers. You can get a really good action choreographer to get your fight scenes and stuff. But I'm just happy to hear that he's doing Mallrats too. I just heard that. So I was like, yeah. So
I was trying to think of one of those like lesser known, maybe like one of those DC Vertigo properties or something like Sandman or Preacher. But I still think that as much as Tusk surprised me in a positive way, I really liked that movie and I wasn't expecting to. I think he is better with the smaller, independent, dialogue-driven films. Now, having said that, it'd be really cool if DC or any comic book film company, for that matter, brought him on as a consultant. It was like, hey, we just want you to take a pass through this script and give us your notes, because he is such a hardcore fan of all this stuff. Maybe you don't put him in the director's chair, but again, I mean, the way that these companies are going, it's like, let's have a team of people and let's all agree on one product. I think that he'd be one of the good voices in the room.
It's a great idea.
Thank you. I came up with it. I should get paid.
Pay this man.
All right, what's next?
Anthony L. writes, I've never seen The Godfather. Is it as good as they say it is?
It's kind of, I still remember, I had this buddy of mine when I was living in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. A guy who worked in the film business with me. He was like the head of this CG animation company that I was working at. And I remember we were just hanging out one day, and the dude's a huge movie fan, watches tons of movies. And one day over lunch, he mentioned casually that he had never seen Godfather. And at one moment, I was completely disgusted, but also completely jealous, because I'm like, dude, tonight we're going back to your place and we're going to pop this thing and we're going to watch The Godfather. Jealous because we talked about this before the other day. Totally jealous because I'll never get to watch The Godfather for the first time again. I'll never be able to do that. And this guy was about to watch The Godfather the first time. And I brought him and he watched it. And as soon as it was done, he's like, I had no idea how much every movie in history since that movie was made has copied that movie. It might be the single most influential film ever made. You talk to 100 directors, 98 of them will tell you they either thematically or visually or plot-wise they have taken from The Godfather. It is that legendary for a reason. It is amazing. And then you get to watch The Godfather 2, which a lot of people think is even better. So, I mean, yeah, it really is as good as you hear it is, Mark.
To quote Peter Griffin, I like the money pit. That is my answer to that question. No, I think that, yeah, The Godfather is phenomenal. And a lot of times with a movie that's made in the early 70s, you have to tell people, okay, look, just remember this movie influenced all those other movies that you've seen that have done this better. It's not the case with The Godfather. You don't have to preempt it saying, well, just remember the time it was made. You can literally watch this. Anybody can watch this with fresh eyes for the first time, and you'll know why it's universally acclaimed as one of the 10, 15 best films of all time. Same thing with The Exorcist. It's like, even though it was made around that same time, it still holds up so well today that it's probably done it better than any horror movie. The Godfather's done that with mob films.
Yeah, it's a seminal work. It's a piece of art, basically. Godfather 1 and 2. Like, if you're a film fan and you haven't seen it, sometimes you'll be talking to someone and you get that, like, I didn't see X, and you're like, what? You didn't see X? You know, like, you freak out on the person because they haven't seen it. And that's happened to me too. Like, you know, I haven't seen some films. People are like, I can't believe you haven't seen that movie or whatever. So it's like, all of us have these like films that we haven't seen yet, because there's literally, I think there's about 16,000 movies get made every year globally. That's more movies than anyone can ever sit down in a theater and watch. So you're just not going to be able to see every single film. But one of the films that you absolutely have to see is The Godfather.
Death of Superman Lives What Happened.
And Death of Superman Lives What Happened. But yeah, The Godfather is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, see it. That's all I can really say.
All right, I think we got one more.
Angel writes, best movie that Leonardo DiCaprio is in.
Oh, crap. Let me throw that over to you guys first.
The Beach. Just kidding. We're stalling for a second because these are live Twitter questions.
Look, I hate that I'm an adult male that I'm going to say this, but Titanic is the one I'm going to throw out there first.
What?
I love Titanic so much. I wasn't expecting to when I walked into the theater as a 15 or 16-year-old boy, thinking, this is the thing James Cameron, he made Aliens. Maybe there's a cool xenomorph reference in here somewhere. I walked out of there. It was just a beautiful, beautiful film experience. Now, having said that, he's made a lot of good movies that I probably could have answered with that are better as far as my credibility in the future goes. But
I'm not going to discount your credibility. That was a great film. I mean, the one that pops into my head after The Beach is Django Unchained. Why? I mean, he's a great actor. So all of the films he's been in, Catch Me If You Can, there's so many films that just, he's like a kind of a glowing, he has a magical quality to him. He's really fun to watch. He's a great actor. He kind of lives and breathes in the characters that he does. Django, he was such a bastard. He's such an evil person that I didn't even think that Leo could do that. So it was kind of fun. It's fun when you see actors who have now fallen into that world where you know who we're talking about by just their first name. We've talked about that before, to be able to see them take a risk and play a character that's completely unlikable and that you actually hate them, and they do a great job at it. So that's one that pops into my head. What
the two for me were, one you've already mentioned is I think his most underappreciated work is actually Catch Him If You Can. I thought his work in that was fantastic. I thought it was a really great movie. And he got to, in that you get to see literally him with one of the best of all times with Tom Hanks in that as well. But the other one is, I think the one I'm going to say is my favorite film that he has been in is The Departed. And that was such a tough sell for me because The Departed is based on the film Infernal Affairs, which is an Asian cop film. And it is my favorite, not just foreign film, it's my favorite cop film of all time. So when they were remaking that in North America, I was a little bit dubious, but I love that movie. Got Martin Scorsese his first Academy Award, won Best Picture.
Matt Damon.
Mark Wahlberg got his first Academy Award nomination for that. Alec Baldwin was great. Alec Baldwin and Mark Wahlberg are so good together in that movie. They don't have many scenes in it, but when they are on camera together,
Nicholson.
Nicholson, who
watching him match with Nicholson is, I think The Departed is maybe the most rewatchable film of his entire life.
I just saw it again like a week ago. It's so much fun.
A lot of people say What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which I've never seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but a lot of people say he should have gotten nominated for that.
Oh my God.
Crazy good in that.
And it'll make you cry. That's a movie like it took me a long time. I saw it like 2 years ago. And like, cause it came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had never seen it. I just knew it was like, that's, it just, I won't even describe it. You'll see it eventually. But, I didn't know what his part in it. And then I saw him, he's such a little kid, he's a little baby.
I can't wait until he wins the Oscar for Revenant.
He's going to, I'm telling you, he's going to win the Oscar for The Revenant. All right, folks. Hey, listen, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks for joining us. Listen, a couple things I want to remind you about. Our AMC Animation Movie Madness Tournament, Round 1. The votes have been tallied. This Friday, we will announce the results of the Round 1 matchups and obviously what the Round 2 matchups are that you guys then have to go and vote. Just look on our YouTube channel for our first round video. You can find it there and catch up for yourself. So we're really looking forward to that. Also, AMC Heroes is later today, being introduced and being hosted by this guy right here, the guy sitting at the table with me, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me at Twitter and Instagram at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. The Death of Superman Lives. What Happened comes at you May 1st. But check out AMC Heroes. Hashtag AMC Heroes with questions today. I'm going to pick the sweatiest question of the week. So make sure it's extra sweaty.
And joining us at AMC Heroes a little bit later is actually Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Speaking of extra sweaty, ladies, online at 5150 Ellis on Twitter and Instagram. Tour dates, markellislive.com.
And of course, the lovely Ashley Mova today. Ashley, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Instagram, and Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And if you're flying in a plane overhead and you're looking for it, just flash your fingernails. Oh. Yeah, you might be able to spot her from the sky. Look at that art. And you can find me on most social media networks, on Twitter, on Facebook, just at John Campy. Listen, don't forget, guys, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all your theater showtime. And of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that'll do it for us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.